And so it was, the author wrote, another failure. The threads had retreated once again. Plots and webs, weaves and ties, a crescent moon, that which binds. The disk draws close, consuming the empty threads, growing greater now and again, feeding from dread. He must act quickly, the author knew, for while he was weak, they had finally gone to the pew. The prayers were gifts, energies dispersed. He would gather them and mend the hearts. Oil, poison, it seeped everywhere, powerful and dangerous. To use it he rarely dared, but its whispers were finally in his mind. Compulsion or control, even he couldn't divine. A blade in leaves or sand trapped by bone, given by a god on sacred loan. So many plots, so many plans in tow, but finally he felt he might now know how to lay it low. Just one more try, he told himself. Just one more cut. Just one more slice. Just one more time to die. They entered the place, yes, deep down just below, within the skull, within where light shone. A crescent moon would rise upon the next attempt, threads would attach again, and he hoped would be kept kempt. His mind was unraveling. It was becoming too late, even as the arrows are drawn, even as his string was spun by fate. A warrior dashes, battling aside blows, channeling his inner power, shattering the acolytes from head to toe. He beats against the door, screaming in anger and worry. As a young girl cries, her vision soon to become blurry. The door is sealed, or at least so it should be, as the Lady of Pain knew it would be. She's beginning to remember, a little clearly. I must hurry, the author mused, quickly to his own pew. They had come to rescue the girl, and quite simply, he couldn't let that happen, for if he was to save the world, it must first sadden. He stood up in time with his steps, taking all but a second, and all but an infinity he fret. The world slowed still as the armies outside the city gathered. A man who would be king, settling to conquer. Order was his name now, his real identity long lost to the flame. A father of ash, a mother of bliss, he would feast upon the sea, a most delectable dish. The author stepped forward once, finally moving forward, as a door crashes in, fate rushing towards. Months in a moment, passing in different time, as the Sultan wields a blade crafted so fine. He raises it into the air, no great enemy before him. Instead, it was a city, a shelter, a pirate's den, and he shattered the walls with but one strike. Hurry, he must hurry. The author rushed as blood began to rise among the men's hearts, as evil began to lust. The shadows giggled, knowing it was close, a finger, an inch more, and the dam would burst. It laughed like a fiddle, enjoying the scene to be, enjoying watching the end of history. The author knelt finally upon the couch, ready to unmask the figure, removing the blankets of doubt. And so the warrior bursts forth, shattering the door as he saw in the moonlight the girl he knew before. He was blind, of that he finally knew. He was a fool to go to the pew. She lay before, collapsed into herself, crying hysterically for everything she felt. What was wrong? The warrior would ask. The lady behind would feel it too. The pain was great, too much to last. The warrior, spear in hand, saw no enemy and did not understand the history band. The young child raised her shirt to reveal dark red whelps all upon her stomach, bleeding red. But the warrior could sense no enemy that he felt. He was confused and scared, and an angry screamed, "Talk to me!" with teeth bared. A young man, or so he was supposed to be, for he had relived many days across the infinite sea. He stood, eyes locked, realizing the fate that she had, for her ship was about to dock. A campfire awaited, or so one would hope, but peace is not what she had fated. A man of fire knelt beneath, feeling the heat. He suddenly sees a vision of a sheath, and then it's gone. The smoke billowed a dark scream as evil was pulled, and so the walls fell of the city out below, as a great fire rose and a red blade became sown. It screamed, it raged, not this way, not this day. A vengeance was wrought, but the Emberling couldn't help but wonder, sickened, what price had he just paid? The author reached as fast as he could, but in relation to the world, it went as slow as it would. The man who would be king realized the abide, and so he raised his now red blade and melded the divide. It was not to be this try, but he might save the world if its wounds he could cauterize. The author's hand removed the blanket to reveal a sleeping girl whose hair was a perfect shade of white. It was the only thing normal about her, for she slept a great deal, for upon the will of order she was the method of the repeal. The young girl, in another place and time, knelt before the warrior, whose pain finally did subside. She felt empty, knowing her purpose plain, a vessel for fate. Her death was inevitable, if not today, then later across the sea. She looked up at the warrior, her eyes going golden white, and begged him to simply end her life. Hurry, she said, pointing up to his now inflamed spear, for fate is drawing her close and would soon be here. He looked down upon her, destiny held in his hands. But he couldn't do it. He couldn't kill the history band. And so the author took a small knife, a mere fraction of space beneath the last mark, and made a new one. Upon the flesh of the little girl so stark, it was red, a bright bead. It was a symbol of the author's need. It touched one part of her, that which cascades from head to toe, a small red drop, like blood in the snow. She cried another tear as her eyes grew brighter, still half asleep, still stuck at the end of a pier. She opened her eyes, shadows cascading wide, as a burst of light once again sealed the divide. Everything is being undone. So the author relaxed. Fate was abated. He had reignited the sun. It is too late, the young girl beneath the warrior said. She continued, leaning back as her light began to fade. What was it the old woman said at the end of every day? Oh, yes, she whispered, her final words. It was never going to end any other way.